Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, I'm finally interviewing a really awesome, talented artist and good friend, BrADeXaMpLe. We're going to kick off with his brand new track, Foolish Child.
I guess I spend my time living between the lines. You got my faith, I lost my pride, and I kept everything inside. And there's a foolish child in me that simply lost his way. And I believed in myself until you slowly took it all away. Do you know where you belong? If I get weak, I know that you'll be strong. Those simple things from me to you, the dream is all I need. And I can hardly sleep, I can hardly eat, and I can't believe in anything today. I can't expect things to go my way. And I believed in myself until you slowly took it all away. The more you talk, I try to find the truth that'll ease my troubled mind. What is it that you see, and who is it that you want? You want me to be. And there's a foolish child in me that simply lost his way. And I believed in myself until you slowly took it all away.
Oh yeah, BrADeXaMpLe, folks. What a killer song, yeah. Absolutely kick-ass stuff. And hello! Oh, I went to the wrong screen, and you got to see him before he got here. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. I hope you're all doing smack daddly daddly do well, whatever that means. Yeah, I don't even know what it means. Who really cares? So it's a Friday morning here. I've had my coffee. That was Foolish Child by BrADeXaMpLe, and I was really lucky enough to be a part of that whole process of that awesome song. An all-star cast, so written by BrADeXaMpLe, killer vocals by Brad. Who else was involved in that? Ivan Idea was involved in that. Doug Woods was involved in that, and I was lucky enough to get to master that track. And it's absolutely sick. So, yeah. Can't wait for it to actually drop, hopefully one day on DistroKid. I don't know. I don't think it has yet. I can see Brad laughing in the background on camera. Without further ado, everybody, I'd like to welcome to the show. He's a longtime friend of mine. I met through, I think, Pete John's channel. We became friends over email, and now we hang out regularly on Clubhouse. He's shared his amazing music with all of us on Clubhouse and anyone who's got to know him. And today we're going to get to know some of the amazing bands that he's played in, some of his trials and tribulations, and where he is now. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to the show, to How to App on iOS, BrADeXaMpLe. Howdy, Brad. How you going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm very honored and very excited, and I'm happy to be here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Joe, Ivan, Doug, everyone who's here. I can't really see, but that's awesome.
Do you want to do the hellos now, or do you want to do them later? It's your show, man.
Yeah, you can do them later.
We'll do them later. We'll say hi to you guys soon, all right? Yeah. We'll jump straight into...
I'm just happy I'm just happy there's people here at all. So that's awesome. I'm usually by myself, so it's nice to be surrounded by nice people.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that track before we do the question. So tell us a little bit about the production and the writing for Foolish Child. How did that all come about?
Well, I had written the song a long time ago, and because I was in like a band that was based on getting free booze and girls, it didn't fit. So it was like a sad kind of I always said I didn't like playing Sunday morning music on Friday nights. So we tried to make our band like a Friday night band. And every time we played, even if it was a Monday, I'd say, oh, hey, everybody, we're the InnerCity Surfers. It's awesome that it's Friday, so people wouldn't feel shitty for getting drunk on a Monday. So I would always pretend today is Saturday or today is Friday or whatever. But I had all these songs that were Sunday morning songs, like Foolish Child. So we had tried to record it a couple times, just like in the studio randomly. We never really tried to make it a production or do anything good with it. So I had sat down one day, changed the key, put a capo on, changed the key, recorded a guitar and vocal part, and played a little bit of it for Ivan. And said, what do you think of this? Do you like it? Is it okay? Is it shitty? What do you think? He's like, oh my God, that sounds great. I'd love to work on it. So I was like, oh, awesome. So I sent it to him and I said, what would be really cool is if Doug played some piano on it. And I know you know Doug really well, so maybe you can ask him. And Doug was like, yeah, I'll do it. And apparently it took Doug one take. He just banged it out and sent it back to Ivan. And then we sent it to you and you mastered it. And now it sounds better than I could have ever imagined it sounding. Like it's got a life of its own now, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm really proud that I got to work with people that I really admire and love on it. And through Clubhouse and through the How to App channel and Pete John's channel and Doug's channel and the people like the internet community that I've become a part of, kind of slowly dipping my toes in, and then finally just diving right in and saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna tell everybody everything. So then that's it, and it worked out, and it sounds really good, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it does. It's just an honor to be a part of it. It was so cool to watch it all come along in Clubhouse. For those of you who don't know, we there's a group of us who hang out in Clubhouse like pretty much every day. We're terrible. We're in there all the time, and it's become a social hang for us where we chat a lot of shit. We give each other a lot of shit, but out of it, like there are collaborations that come out of it too, which are really cool. So, and Doug's just written here, it was an honor to play on the track, Brad. Of course it was. We know who you are, Doug.
Doug, phenomenal. there's probably there's very few musicians that I know that are even remotely as close as talented as Doug.
Yeah.
That guy has got talent coming out of his ears.
Joe, control him, will you? He'd be getting excited. Lucky you said that before he went to bed.
You're awesome, Doug. I
love you, Doug. All right, so it's a killer song. Head over to Brad's YouTube channel, and you can check it out there. Synth Widow says she's holding him down. Good stuff. All right, let's jump into the questions, because we got to get to the bear story. Boom. It's coming, folks. Hippie's here. I see he's written a boom, so boom.
Hey, Hippie.
All right, we'll get to saying hello to everybody really soon. So, Brad, what does music mean to you?
Everything. It's the reason I wake up. It's the reason I'm still alive. It's the reason I was born. There's no other reason for me to exist at all other than the fact that I was born to write songs, and that's it. I write so many songs that no matter what I'm doing, there's a song happening at the same time. So it means everything to me. Helps me when I'm sad, makes me laugh when I'm sad, makes me cry when I'm happy, makes me, helps vent me when I'm angry or stressed. Like discovering new bands I love listening to people. That's why I like BandLab so much, because I listen to all these other bedroom recording people that are just making songs in their bedrooms, and I love listening to it, even if it's absolutely fucking terrible. I love it because it shows me in my head. I think, you know what, this guy in 5 years is going to be awesome, and if he keeps going, it's just going to get better, and I can hear that in the shit. And even though it's terrible, there's a passion there that I can't, it's addicting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We've had so many long conversations in Clubhouse. Some of them were, I may have been on mute, but I've been listening to them when we've just talked. I've listened to you and Ivan, for example, talking about music into the wee hours for like 6 hours straight, just about how much music means. So it's clearly something that means a lot to you. Do you recall when you were young the music that was played in your household that was when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my father was a music junkie, and so was my mom. So I got everything from Leonard Cohen to Black Sabbath, all from a very early age. And then I got all the John Prine and Conway Twitty and George Jones and Hank Jr. and Hank Sr. I got all of that on one side. I got all of the Pink Floyd and Black Sabbath and Iron Butterfly and Uriah Heep on the other side. And then on my mom's side, I got all the Leonard Cohen and Joan Baez and more poetic stuff. Like when I was young, my dad had a box of pornos hidden in the room. And so
here we go.
And my mom had a book beside the bed. So I thought these books are both of these books are off limits. There's something about them that I'm not supposed to know about. So I got into the porn books first. Then I got into the other book that was on my mom's side of the table, and it was a book of poetry. So I started reading the poetry, and I was like, it really moved me, like Robert Frost and Emily Browning and all these different authors, like writers. Bukowski ended up becoming my favorite, obviously. And then all these other writers that I got them all tattooed on my leg. They impacted me so much. So I would read these poems that I thought were like contraband almost. So and then I ended up starting to write myself. So I ended up in grade 7, I won the Young Authors Conference. And then again in grade 8, I won. And I was the only guy to ever win it twice in a row. And then I got too much attention for writing these short stories and prose, and I kind of got nervous and pulled away from it, and that shifted into songwriting.
So, Audible Videos written porn and poetry. There's a band name right there.
That's my life. Like that was my whole life.
I love
can be summed up right there.
I love so you associated the porn being hidden and the poems become contraband as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I thought there's secrets in these words that I got to figure out. Like I have to unlock these secrets, and so I got right into it. Like I would sneak in the room in the middle of the night, and I'd flip through the pages, and I'd find one, and I'd read it real quick, and then I'd put it back and make sure it looked the same as it, because I thought I wasn't supposed to touch it, and then I'd run out of the room. Like it was hardcore for me, and I was young. Like I was really, really young.
Gary Hubbs has written Poem Hub in the chat. There was a line there flicking through the pages. Clearly not the pages that were stuck together. But
Oh yeah, and there are plenty of those
now,
too.
now, you mentioned at the start of this show that your mum might be here tonight. Did you say?
Yeah, well, yeah, she's watching from work.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mom.
All right, let's look. There's a whole lot of look, man. What an amazing wide list of musical influences. I'm utterly jealous of growing up in that house.
Yeah, it was, and we had a big stereo, so my dad wouldn't play things quiet. Everything was cranked to 20. Like he had a big stereo, so he would crank everything up really, really loud. So I got into hearing all the nuances, especially with the Beatles and Pink Floyd and a lot of that stuff. I got right into the nuance of just the sheer volume and power of it. So then when I was really young, a guy down the street got a guitar, and I couldn't play it with a pick. I used my fingers, and I liked the bottom end because I listened to a lot of Black Sabbath. So I was always like, when I listened to War Pigs, I was like, what is that noise? So my dad would explain, and my other people, my other family members, that's bass, that's guitar, those are the drums. So I got a kind of layout of what was happening, and I was drawn to the bass. So when everybody in my neighborhood got guitars for Christmas, I saved up my money from my little job making cotton candy and got a bass for my birthday. And the other thing, what else was playing bass, so I knew there was an in for me that way. And I wouldn't have any competition. So all of a sudden, I get a bass. A week later, my phone starts ringing by guys that were in their 40s saying, we need a bass player, and we heard you play bass. And at that time, I was like, well, I'm not good enough yet to be involved in a bar band, but eventually I'll call you back. So eventually I got better, but I couldn't sing and play like other people. So I couldn't do a cover song and sing it like Tom Petty or sing it like George Harrison. So I said, fuck it. And I started writing my own songs. So I wrote a song, and I called my buddy Dustin, who ended up being the singer in the InnerCity Surfers with me. I called him to come over and sing it because he could sing really well, and I was very shy about singing. So I called him to come over and sing it. So we wrote all the lyrics down, and his penmanship was really bad. So I called a girlfriend I knew and said, can you come over and transcribe the lyrics that Dustin's written, because I can't read them. So she came over and rewrote them in a legible penmanship. And then I went in the washroom to wash my hands. She knocks on the door, comes in, gives me a BJ. So I was like, well, writing songs equals BJs. So I'm just going to write songs for the rest of my life. That was it right there. I was sold. I was going to write a song a day. It was just like that.
Can we get some BJs in the chat, folks? Can we get some BJs? I want to reverse a little bit back. I want to go back a bit. Cotton candy?
Yeah, I worked for like a guy that had like a little fair. So he had like a little train set, a bouncy moon house, one of those big bouncy houses, and a cotton candy machine. So I was tasked with setting it all up in the morning and then hiring scumbags that were hanging around the park to run them while I made cotton candy. And I got really good at it. So good, in fact, that my mom bought a cotton candy machine last year and wanted me to make cotton candy at the bass tournament that we have here. But my hip ended up going out, so I couldn't do it. My sister ended up doing it with the girlfriend I had at the time. And then they came home and were covered in cotton candy, and I couldn't stop laughing because they were so bad at it. But hopefully this year things will get lifted and I'll be able to go out and impress people with my cotton candy skills. I'm pretty fucking awesome at making cotton candy. You'd be surprised.
Do you get many BJs from it?
No, actually I did. As a matter of fact, I did. I absolutely did. It was incredible. And every girl tasted like cherry cotton candy. So it was awesome because I had it all in my hair and my face and my everywhere. It was everywhere. It got everywhere, all up my arms. So anything I touched tasted like cherry cotton candy.
Up to here, mate. Man, I knew today was going to be fun, and I want to thank Pete Johns for the super chat. All he put in the super chat was an image of a bear. So, folks, if you're enjoying yourself now, the bear is coming. We'll get to that. Let's go back to. Do you remember what the first album was that you purchased or was given, and what format was it on?
I bought a cassette tape of course, Kiss Rock and Roll Over.
Kiss again. Kiss. How many shows have we had where people have said Kiss? It's unbelievable.
Kiss is like the Beatles to me. They marketed themselves as, and the same thing that we tried to do as the InnerCity Surfers. Yep. Because we all sang, so we all tried to be unique parts of a machine. Yeah. And it was the same as Kiss did. They marketed themselves as each individuals, and the Beatles did the same thing. The Stones did the same thing. You know, so Dean and Ween Gene kind of did the same thing. Gene and Dean Ween, and so we wanted to do the same thing. So, and that's what Kiss brought to me, was this idea that, and because I love comic books so much, they were like ideal for me at a young age.
Yeah, there's you don't even. What the odd thing about Kiss too is that you don't even really have to like their music. Because it was more than that when we were young. It was the whole package, wasn't it? It was the whole
package. And that's the shame of it, is that Kiss gets shit on for having bad music, but they were one of the greatest glam rock bands that ever existed. Yeah. They were as good as T-Rex in the beginning. Like, their first 4 albums are like glam rock gold. Yeah. Like Strutter and Deuce and She and Black Diamond. Even the Replacements covered Black Diamond. Melvins covered Kiss songs. Dinosaur Jr. covered Kiss songs. Like, Kiss has some great songs. And Gene Simmons is by far the most underrated vocalist and bass player of all time. Because he's such an asshole, people overlook the fact that he's an incredible talent.
I couldn't say it any better.
Like, yeah, he's the worst. I can't stand the fucking guy. But he's awesome he's an awesome songwriter and an awesome performer, and just as an image, like a poster on a 14-year-old kid's wall, he's a god.
Yeah, and a promotional machine. Absolute.
Oh my god,
genius
at
that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was Kiss. Kiss got me into it, and then my next record was Black Flag.
Of course.
Jealous Again. Or Jealous, I forgot what it was called. Broken, maybe, I forgot what it was called. But it was their first 7-inch I got, and I got Rotting. I forgot the name of that one too. Rotting Vegetables and Fresh Fruit or whatever from Dead Kennedys. And then I got Minor Threat, and that was it. I was hooked. Yep. I never listened to pop music or regular rock and roll ever again. Then Bad Brains.
Oh, what an awesome band Bad Brains were. Huh?
Oh, they were the fucking greatest.
Yeah, sick. You know, I don't know if I've told you this story before. I'll try and keep it short. But when I was young, I was in high school. I used to do a fanzine, a punk metal fanzine. This was like year 11 kind of thing, and we got an interview with Henry Rollins, and
cool.
We did an interview with Mudhoney, and we got to meet all these really cool bands. Like Mudhoney was amazing, but we got to do the interview with Henry Rollins, and it was at the sound check. And when we rolled into the venue, Rollins was just in the middle of the venue. It was empty. There was all this music playing through the speakers on the stage, nobody else on stage, and he was just going like this by himself in the middle of the floor, like flexing his arms. And then they finally said, all right, you can interview him now. And we went out the back into a laneway. And my stupid friend who was with me doing the interview, his first question was, so do you think Black Flag will ever get back together again? And he grabbed my friend by the throat and held him up against the wall and said, I told you, don't ever talk about Black Flag. And then he stormed off and we didn't get the interview. And I was scared of Henry Rollins ever since that.
Oh, wow. And it's funny because Greg Ginn is such a fucking asshole. I'm not surprised that Rollins hates him. Everybody hates him. like even like everybody, all the other singers, Diaz and the guy I like the best, I always forget his name, with the dreads that sang in Circle Jerks, but he was my favorite Black Flag vocalist. But they all in all their interviews, all they ever said was how much they hated Greg Ginn.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised Rollins had a little shit fit on your buddy when he asked about it, because I wouldn't want to be associated with him either, especially since he was starting his own thing and doing the Rollins band stuff.
It was on the Rollins tour, yeah. And later that night, we got tickets to go and see it, and he glassed the guy at the front of the stage. Man, he just smashed the bottle into the guy's head. It was like far out, man.
Oh, if you're gonna Rollins, that's how you want to see him. Yeah. My first band actually did "Lonely" by the Rollins band. We covered "Lonely." That was a real good one to cover. It was heavy and slow and like had a cool groove to it. It was awesome.
So once you've got your hold of Kiss, you've got all these influences going on. So do you venture into like music lessons or anything like that in school or anything?
I did, kind of. So I started taking bass lessons, and I took 3 bass lessons, and then I came back and I said, hey, to my bass teacher, check this out. And I played him 3 songs that I had written, because he always said, if I teach you something on Monday and you come back next Monday and can't play it, I'll know you haven't played through the week and I'll send you home. So I was always afraid to let him down.
Yeah.
So I had gone home and I had written a bunch of songs. So I wrote the songs and I came to my lesson, my 4th lesson, and I said, check this out. And I played him these punk rock songs that I had written. And then when my mom came to pick me up, he said to my mom, I'm not going to teach him anymore. He's far beyond what I can do for him.
Wow.
You can go 2 ways, he explained to my mom. You can either go the theory way and be a music theorist and learn scales and learn, all the technical stuff, or you can do what he does, which is harder, and he's a natural at it, and I can't teach that. So nurture that in him as much as you can. So I ended up leaving. I ended up being his babysitter. He ended up having a baby, so I ended up just being his babysitter and could play his cool 64 P bass while I babysat his kid.
Awesome.
So I went from paying the bass player to getting paid from him.
I'm just sitting here waiting. This isn't going to end in a BJ. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Thank you, Lady Rodeline, for the cool, kind super chat. All right, so what I'm going to do now...
Hi, Lady Rodeline.
What we'll do now is we'll play a track, and then we'll jump in, then we'll come back and say hello to everybody, and we'll talk about your first band. Okay. So was Room 206 your first band?
It was my first. I was in another band before, a couple bands before that, but that was my first real band with my real friends, guys I went to elementary school with. My drummer lived 2 doors down. The guitar player lived about 5 doors down, and the singer, he lived just through the bush on the end of my street. So we used to walk to school. I'd pick up Al on the way and then pick up York on the way, and then we'd walk to school every day. And we did that all through elementary school, all through high school, all through our lives. Still to this day, we're close.
All right, well, let's play this track. So this is Room 206, and this is a track called Good Enough, and then we'll come back and have a chat. So if you want to...
It came out in like 1992, so that's when the song was made. So it was a long time ago.
And it's punk, folks. Let's get into it. Let's have a go. You can mute your mic if you want. And we shall kick it off. Let's go. This is Room 206, Good Enough. Oh, yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Welcome back. That was awesome, man. So Thomas Christ says, what I say? Sounds like early 90s indeed. So let's say hello. Let's say hello to folks. We'll scroll. We'll go from the bottom up. Hello to Adam Burst, Thomas Christ, Darren Anderson, Audible Video, Metalhead Hippie, boom. Lady Rodeline Stray, Gary Hubs, Doctor's Orders.
Hubs.
Hubs. Who else we got? Synth Widow. I think I said Pete Johns. Russ is here. There's so many people.
Rusty.
Doug is here as well.
Hey, Doug.
Who else do we have as I'm scrolling manically through? SM Borthwick. Paying to Get is here. Hello to you. Hello to everyone. Scott. Hello, Scott. I have an idea. Ivan, Michael Margak, is that he said that? There you go. Cy effing good to see you. Happy birthday, Cy.
Yeah.
Is Cy's birthday today?
Happy birthday. And thanks everybody for sticking around and listening to me talk shit. I really appreciate it.
Kim Hardin Hudson, Bubba's here as well. Joshua Good is here. So I think I've covered as many people as I can by scrolling quickly because we want to. Colin Powell, hello to you too. Let me see if I just catch anyone else with my quick scrolling. I just want to say Metalhead Hippie again. Boom.
Boom. Metalhead Hippie. It's like a Canadian show called Mr. Dress Up. They used to have this little mirror and they'd look into the mirror and they'd say hi to everybody through the mirror. Let's say hi to everybody. Hi, Jonathan.
We have that here too. It's called Romper Room. Through the magic,
maybe that was it.
The magic mirror, and they used to have a song, Romper, Bomper, Stomper, Boo, tell me, do. Magic mirror, tell me today if all my friends had fun at play.
Yeah, right on.
I fucking remember that shit, man. What is wrong with me? Lock me up in a mental institution, please. Patrick Chandler's here as well. I think if I've missed you, throw your name at the bottom of the chat so I can get you. And I'll give you a shout out as we go on. I think I've got most people, but there's a whole heap of you here. So thanks for being here. So tell us how all this started with Room 206 and barely what was it called? Barely Legal. Is that the name of the record?
Well, yeah, it was that we did a compilation when we moved to Toronto, but I was in a band and we did like Guilt Parade covers and Bad Religion covers. But everybody fought constantly. And I was like, this is not what I want out of music at all. Tension and anger and hostility in the jam room and people losing their temper and smashing their snare skins. And I was like, you know what? This isn't cool. So I talked to my buddies that I grew up with and said, let's just start a band and for just so that we can play and do something. So we did. And York's dad was a musician, my singer. So he had a jam space built into his house with all a PA and everything. So we got to use his dad's rehearsal space, and we used to rehearse at 7 a.m. His parents were so cool. They let us rehearse before school, after supper, late at night. Anytime we wanted to jam, we could jam. So we ended up, and then it was hard to get shows because we were so young. All the older bands were like, no, we're not putting you guys on a show. You're just going to suck. You guys are fucking 14 years old, 13, 14, 15 years old. So I said, okay, fine. So then I put my own show on. I rented a hall and put it on myself. And then we ended up getting really popular really fast. And then we decided to move to Toronto. And that record, that Punk the Next Generation from Barely Legal Records came out. And it was on the Sam the Record Man indie charts at #1 for like 6 straight months. So then we ended up doing a tour behind it, and just a small tour, doing like Toronto and Hamilton and Burlington and all the little areas around Toronto. And so we did that. But then our singer decided he wanted to move home. So he left and moved home, and we were kind of without a singer. I still wasn't prepared to start singing. I was still too shy. But then I ended up in another band, and then I didn't like that. So then I called up my friends again, same guys, same group of guys that I went to elementary school with, and said, let's start a band. Like, all we want is free drinks and girls. That's it. So let's start a band and do it, and just do it. So we did. And then that's when InnerCity Surfers came around.
Free drinks and girls.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been a lot of bands that have come together during the pandemic, and unfortunately, they didn't start bands with that notion in mind because.
No, and that's terrible because that's the best reason to do it. When you're on stage, like I've seriously been on stage and I played naked a lot. So I would be on stage playing literally a foot off the floor and then be in the bathroom later naked still, peeing. And the guy turned to me and goes, "Isn't the band awesome?" And I go, "How many other naked guys are in this fucking bar? Do I look different when I come down 1 foot?" Like, they didn't recognize me. I had girls do it to me once. I was hitchhiking to one of my shows and they were going to it. And I'm like, I go, "Where are you guys going?" They go, "Oh, we're going to see room 206. I go, "I'm actually in the band." They stop the car, turn around, look at me, and they go, "No, you're not." I go, "Okay." Get to the show. I walk past the lineup, walk right through security. I go, "I told you. I fucking told you." They didn't believe me. I don't know. I can't explain it.
I'm glad you wore clothes for today, Brad.
Yeah, I was thinking of not. It actually had crossed my mind.
I know it had. I was sure it had.
I was gonna get up and get something, and just my bare ass would come across the screen.
So from 206, it became the InnerCity Surfers. And I mean, InnerCity Surfers, you've got a whole lot of material. I mean, how long have you been doing the InnerCity Surfers?
Over 20 years now.
Holy shit.
So and it's just because I couldn't tour anymore. The other guys were getting kind of long in the tooth, and we wanted to settle down. Kind of, Dustin had some kids. Mikey ended up with a girlfriend that has a few kids, and I was dating somebody that had a kid, and I was just like, okay, enough of this touring. I physically, I couldn't do it anymore. My physical health went like down really steep, really quickly, and I just physically could not do it anymore. So we kind of didn't break up, but we just stopped being an active band. Although we released a song 6 months ago, and we have a couple more ready to be released. And we still write together and still work together, and still, we did a 20th anniversary show 2 summers ago, and that sold out in a day, less than a day. And then, but we're not broken up. We're just not active.
Yep. How many albums do you have?
4 real albums, and then 1 that's like just a collection of jokes and B-sides.
That's what's playing now.
Weird little.
And listen to this.
Yeah.
This is, how old is this version of Foolish Child?
That's got to be like 2003 maybe.
Wow. Listen to that.
And that's Mikey playing on a Pringles can. Like, we were just sitting in the control room mixing our record, and I started playing it on the acoustic guitar. So the engineer real quick grabbed a mic and put it in front of me and said, "Start it over and I'll lay it down." So he did, and then Mikey just played a Pringles can, and Dave played a little bit of guitar on it. He just quickly grabbed a guitar and played on it, and then we put it on the B-sides record there. But I always wanted a good version of it.
It's a beautiful song. I haven't heard this before. This is just, so what I'm doing, I'm playing in the background today all the music from InnerCity Surfers just underneath on SoundCloud. So if you do want to go and hear all this stuff, all the links are in the description for SoundCloud, Brad's YouTube channel, and all that kind of stuff. You can hear all this. I'll turn this back down. So what about touring with the InnerCity Surfers? So I'm guessing you toured all over the place. You've toured with heaps of really cool bands. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we toured a lot, and we ended up getting, we had a choice to either go to Europe and play with our manager, because he was the head of the Canadian Music Week. So he had kind of offered us if we could go to Ireland, I think, and start there. But we decided to get our P2s and go tour this. So we carved out a little circuit in the States that took us from basically Sault Ste. Marie and up and around through New York and through Georgia and the Carolinas, and then back up again through Maine, back into Nova Scotia, and then through Nova Scotia back through to the Sioux. So we kept doing this kind of loop, and we did this loop for a good 6 or 7 years. We just played over and over and over again. We'd come home, we'd write the music, we'd record it, then we'd tour it, and ended up doing that just endlessly.
And who are some of the bands that you've played with over the years? Or toured with,
Oh God. I can't even remember right now. I mean, the one that sticks out in my mind the most is that we got to play with Dean Ween. He came on stage and played with us, played guitar. We did one of their songs, and he came up and played guitar and sang. So that was like the highlight of my life, because Ween was like my favorite band of all time. But we opened for lots of bands. I can't even really remember who. Trouble Charger, they were really big in Canada. We opened for them. Sum 41, they were really big in Canada. We opened for them. The Real Mackenzies and that other Fat Records band, I forget their name, we opened for them. Against Me and Strung Out.
Man.
And
Against Me rock.
The Planet Smashers and there's so many I can't even remember. Lots of fun. Like we had way too much fun than was legally allowed by far. And they used to put on the posters, like promoters, after we'd play there the first time, we'd come back the second time, and on the posters it would say the drunkest band from Canada on the posters. So they would advertise how hammered we got. Because I would, at the beginning of the show, I'd say, I'm going to quit the band if I won't play one single song until I got a tray of shots. So then the bar would rush, and pour a tray of shots and bring them up. And we'd just pack back shots. Like, that's why we ended up getting sponsored by Jägermeister and ended up living off Jägermeister for 10 years. And like, holy shit. It was I drank more warm Jägermeister than I drank water. It was outrageous.
Oh man, I love it. I love hanging out with you. So it ties into the next song I'm going to play. I'm going to play an InnerCity Surfers track. So it just is perfect. This song is called Booze and Doobs. You can't ask for a better name for a song, yeah? So let's jump over and play this. Let me cue it up, make sure it doesn't just start playing randomly.
Well, before we get off that, I was going to say that for that first band, that Room 206, the first band, we're actually our Mikey Hodden, the drummer for the InnerCity Surfers. Room 206 was the first band he saw live and went, oh my God, I can be in a band. These guys are just a little bit older than me and I can do this too. So he put a record label together and is reissuing our first album out on vinyl in the next month.
Oh, sick.
So the first record I ever made when I was 14, 15 years old is being reissued on vinyl this month.
I think I've got some photos that you sent me as well of that. So I'll dig those up when we come back after the song, and we'll show that. So let's jump in and play this track, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a bit more about the InnerCity Surfers, and then we'll get a bit real after that. So let's jump in, and I'll bring this up here. There we go. I've got everything set. So this is Booze and Doobs by the InnerCity Surfers. Oh yeah. Scooby Dooby Doo. So that was Booze and Doobs by the InnerCity Surfers. I just want to catch up too. Thank you, Hippie, for the super chat. I saw that fly before. Boom, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you,
Head over to
Hippie.
Hippie's channel, sub him up. He does the...
I love the Hippie show. I'm so grateful that Hippie plays my songs on his show. I'm honored. Thank you, Hippie.
Yeah, thank you. So if you're not subbed over to Hippie, make sure you go over. He's in the chat. You can click on I think you can still click on people's names, or just go and look up Metalhead Hippie, and he does 3 shows a week showcasing heaps of people's music. So head over and do that, because he does support.
It's a
support so.
He doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, you need a few rails to get through a Hippie show. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely need a few rails to last that long.
That's a 2-bag show there.
So thank you very much. So now that tell us what was for the recording process? What did you do back in the day for recording? I'll just say before I ask you this: if I had known about you back when I was young, I definitely would have been into your music, because I was into Minor Threat, all these bands that you're into. It's so bizarre that we find each other.
I think that's why we all gravitated towards each other, because I think we all have such similar tastes in music. Yeah. And you being a Bungle fan, and it's like that right away opens the door and says, okay, this guy likes crazy music, and this guy likes crazy music, and it brings all these people together, like you, Ivan, me, everybody. So it brought us all together in a way that was a little more, a layer deeper than just being bedroom recording artists.
And so back in the day when you were recording all this music for InnerCity, you were hitting recording studios, yeah? So tell us about that, because that's a thing of the past these days. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't even know what a recording studio is.
So the first 206 record we did in a big recording studio that mostly did radio jingles and commercials. So they weren't set up to do a band like us and loud, distorted guitars and screaming But we made it work, and we did it. We mixed it, recorded it, mixed it all in 2 days, and put it out just like that. And then from there, we went to a buddy of mine had a reel-to-reel, and we recorded our second record in his bedroom a day after his dog had puppies in the bedroom. So it reeked like placenta and Oilers. And it was just so hot and gross in there, but we recorded a record in there anyway. And then had that mixed and mastered at the big studio in the Sioux. And then the Surfers recorded our first record in Mikey's basement at his house in London, Ontario. And we used the same system that Room 206 used to record our second record, that same Fostex. But then we moved that to a big studio to a guy named Wayne Lawrence, who worked with Daniel Lanois. So he bumped it to a 2-inch tape and then remixed it, and we put it out like that. And then we started to work with our buddy Simon Head, who's like a famous recording engineer in Canada, and really, really good, and one of the boys. So he's like part of our group, and we did all of our records with him.
Awesome stuff. So here's the images we were talking about here. So this is the room. These are the ones you sent me, yeah?
Yeah, that's coming. That's the vinyl. That's the front cover and the back cover of the vinyl. And then the next image is the insert. That's going to be the vinyl sleeve. Yeah, that's me when I was like 14 years old with a pot leaf in my hat, no beard.
Look at little young Brad. It's hard to believe you're such a crazy drinking, drug-fueled machine. You look so innocent, Brad. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I was not innocent.
Look at all these amazing flyers. So have you collected all these flyers over the years and kept them on? I'm the same, man.
I kept every flyer. I have a trunk with about 1,000 flyers in it.
Oh my God, SNFU and Room 206. What the hell?
Yeah, we played with them a lot.
Excellent, man. This is cool. Yeah, I have a little folder that I have put away with all the flyers and stuff myself. I pull it out sometimes and just freak out over it.
I don't know if you can see it, but I have it. Let's see,
Up
you
on
can
the
see
wall.
it
Yeah.
behind my TV there. Yeah. Sorry for
No,
moving the camera.
you've done well. You've
Yeah,
got
so
it back perfectly.
so all that happened, but I ended up getting sick. I ended up having like issues with my health, and then just kind of stopped doing everything. I stopped everything. So I have ankylosing spondylitis, which
No,
is
that's what I was going to get into now. Yeah.
autoimmune. Yeah, it's an autoimmune disease that calcifies my spine, and I have femoral impingement syndrome, which means my femur, my hip socket, my femur's supposed to lock in, but my hip is flat, and so my femur slides around in it. So sometimes it slides out and gets caught on the other side, and I can't move, I can't walk, I can't breathe. It's brutal pain. I'm in brutal pain all the time. So, and when I stopped being like a party machine and kind of winded all that down, I started to feel the pain a lot more. So then I started going to the doctor and getting it checked out. And, because when you're drinking and doing drugs all the time, you don't feel the pain anymore. But when I stopped doing all that stuff and was kind of growing up, I could feel I could feel it, and I knew something was really wrong. And the benefit is that when I lift my shirt, you could see it. So the doctors were thinking, oh, this guy's drug seeking or this guy's lying because you could visibly see, oh my God, his hip is sticking out and it's pushing on his skin, and this is fucked. So the doctors, I'd lift my shirt up and they'd go, what? Whoa, 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 whoa. And they said, this only happens in dogs and cattle. Femoral subluxation doesn't happen in humans, but it happens in me. So either I'm a dog or a cow or not human. So either way, but it hurts. So I started to, so then I got an iPad 1 and got GarageBand and iRig, and I thought, okay, I'm going to learn how to write and record on my own and just do this by myself. And I had no guidance. I had nothing until I found you and Pete Johns. And then I bought better equipment. I bought an interface. I bought a better iPad, and I sat on it for a year and just indulged in your videos and watched every app you showed, everything Pete talked about, tried to absorb as much information as I could. And then when I felt a little bit comfortable, I said, okay, and I fired it up and I laid my first couple chords down, and I've probably put out 40 songs since then.
Yeah, man, look, I remember
and I feel like I'm getting like a little bit better each time. There's still a lot I got to learn, especially about EQ and mastering and mixing and the I can do okay, but it's the detailed stuff I'm not good at.
We still got to get you sorted out with the files app, mate. That's the fucker.
I'm learning. I got when I sent Ivan those files, I figured out how to put them in audio share, how to make a folder, how to put all the stems in that folder, and then send that folder to Dropbox so that he could open that folder, get the guitar, bass, vocals, everything labeled right. So I got that worked out. And and if I'm sending it one at a time, I do it that way. Just mute everything, send it one at a time.
SciFN just written here, the big race in the UK starting this weekend has big links with NASS, which is a UK charity for axial, how do I say it? Spondyloarthrosis? I tried.
Yeah, ankylosing spondylitis.
Wow. I remember when you first reached out to me, you sent me an email, and it was, it was absolutely heart-wrenching what you wrote to me, and I thank you so much for sharing that with me. I felt extremely honored.
Well, when you had talked about your platelet disease, I thought, oh my God, at least now she can relate and we can have this discussion about, making music through these issues that are not faults of our own, but still find enough pride in our lives to make a song and put it out for the world to hear. And that takes a lot of guts, and I know how hard it is because I struggle with it. So when you had mentioned and you were talking about your platelet disease, that's when I wrote you and said I have a issue as well, and to let you know that your videos and watching you and talking to the people in the chat and becoming friendly with everybody was gave me a community that I no longer had, because I moved away from all my friends and everybody I grew up with to a small town 12 hours away from my like real hometown. So I was really alone here, and I didn't know anybody. I can't go out and meet people. So I'm stuck in. So the only access I had to conversations with other creators was on your show and through your chat. So I wanted to make sure that you knew how appreciative I was that you fostered this community that welcomed me in and gave me a place to, talk and communicate with other music creators and other people that were writing songs and musicians. And look what it's turned into, collaborations and actual friendships, like deep friendships.
Absolutely. I remember the photo you sent me too of your back.
No.
Yeah, it's I've got it. I just opened my email just to have a look at it again. It's like, holy, I won't
Yeah, show it if you want.
Yeah,
go ahead and show it.
It's up to you, because
go ahead.
I think let's do
it'll show people kind of what I go through.
Yeah, exactly. I think sharing that stuff's really important. I mean, walk us through that. That's some pretty hardcore stuff, man.
So it's because my hip goes out all the time, it starts to bruise.
Yeah.
So I get this bruising, and then on top of that, I sit with because all the nerves back there are so dead, I have a heating pad on my chair, and it just burns the skin off my back, and I get these little blisters from the heat. So I get like all that marking is the bruising, and then I get you can see little they almost look like zits, but they're like little blisters.
Yeah.
Because I can't feel it, so I keep cranking it up, and I can't feel it, because all that back there is just dead.
Yeah, I get similar around my neck. It looks exactly the same sitting around my neck from the blood coming to the top of my skin. So
yeah,
it's interesting. We have so much in common with this kind of stuff. It's just it's totally shit. But at the end of the day, I mean, on the positive, it has brought a whole bunch of us together. I think Russ just wrote in the chat. I can't remember exactly. Let me scroll back.
Like Russ, there's another guy. Like
we're forming a band.
Fucking guy had a stroke, and I've been playing bass on his songs. Some of them he likes, some of them he doesn't like. But I've been working with him and trying to do the best I can for him. And I love the guy, and I love the music he makes, and I love the fact that it's like fucking clockwork. Like Russ has a new song every Monday without fail, no matter what he's going through or how hard it is. He lays on his bed with his iPad, does the same thing that we do, but he does it in a harder way. He makes it harder for himself for some reason. And then puts out music every Monday, and it's brilliant music. And I respect and love that. And it inspires me to do more.
Yeah, well, Russ wrote here that we need to form a band called the Disabled.
Yeah, no kidding.
No shit. Well, look, it's been a privilege. I remember when you first came on Clubhouse too. You were quite reserved and asking a lot of questions and stuff, and really, like, I guess, I don't know. To me, it felt like you were tiptoeing around and just feeling your way around. And now, these days, you come in and we get treated to wonderful stories like where I'm heading right now, right on the hour. This is where I said I was going to do it. Brad, would you like to tell us a little bit about the infamous bear story?
Okay, so my grandparents owned a resort when I was a kid, and my mom grew up on it, and her 7 brothers and sisters. And so when I was a kid, we used to go there every weekend and go fishing and swimming and boating. And, they had this big, beautiful resort. And it was a hunting and fishing resort. So these hunters had come, and I think they were Asian, but I can't remember, because they were after the gallbladders and paws, because they think they're aphrodisiacs of bears. So somebody during primitive tag season, so you can go in for a draw for your primitive tag, and you can bow hunt. So these guys came out for the bow hunt, and somebody had hit a bear and didn't track it to kill it. So because there were so many kids on the resort playing out in the yard, we were all on high alert and told, okay, you guys can't play outside because there's a big grizzly out there. and it's been hit, and it's going to start wandering in to look for food and help. So you guys will get, and it's going to be ornery because it's been hit. So we were out playing one day, and then I see my grandpa come flying out the door with a revolver, and this bear gets up on 2 feet and starts kind of coming towards us, and then drops down on all fours and starts barreling towards us. So my grandpa shot it, boom, had to shoot it 3 times before it fell. And then when it fell, he rolled it over real quick because you're not supposed to do that. So he had to gut the bear and pull all the bullets out of it. So he takes the knife out of his pocket and guts the bear, reaches in, pulls all the guts out of it, takes my family member, grabs him, I think he was about 2 at the time, and puts him inside the bear's carcass. And it was like a bathtub. It was so big, it was like a bathtub, and the blood was about 2 feet deep. So he just puts, my family member inside there, splashing and playing inside this bear carcass that was full of blood. And I was blown away, like, how come the blood's not draining out? Why is the blood still staying in there? It's not draining out anywhere. It was just staying inside the bear, and it was deep. And there's, my little family members splashing around and playing in it. And then my grandpa, and that's the part I forgot. So after I told the story, I asked my mom about it because I figured she'd remember a few more details than I did. And so she said, oh, yeah, your grandpa cut his balls off and was dangling them all in their faces. And everybody was screaming and running around he had the balls dangling in their faces. But that's when my grandpa taught me, like, cut out the gallbladder and said, yeah, the Asians use this as an aphrodisiac. So they come down here and they do like poaching, and they kill off-season bears, and they just take the paws and gallbladders and leave the rest of the bear in the bush. And, we're against that, and that's not what ethical hunting is about. And, and I'm a vegetarian. I've never eaten meat ever in my life, but I always respected the idea of culling and living in nature the way I do. I understand that, there has to be a balance. Because when we have so many deer in town, then the wolves come, and we get, like, they had to shut school down last winter because there was a pack of wolves eating a deer in the school parking lot. So they had to turn the bus around, bring all the kids home, had to cancel school for the day. Like, it gets wild here. And there's a bear that comes through, like, right past my bedroom window into my garbage. Like, it gets wild here sometimes.
When you first told that story, I just could not get the image of your 2-year-old brother splashing around in the corpse of a bear. And I couldn't understand why your grandfather put him in there.
None of us could. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see.
So
it was so funny.
I've brought up this information here about Asian people collecting gallbladders. And here's for 3,000 years, bear gallbladders have been used as a popular ingredient in Oriental medicine and are believed by some Asians to relieve human liver and gallbladder maladies. The gallbladders, freeze-dried, powdered, and shipped overseas, can fetch more than $200 a gram, or between $15,000 and $25,000.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So they would come up to where we live because there's so many bears and just, make a fortune, but leave the carcasses laying there in the middle of the bush. So when you're a kid playing through the bush and you trip, all of a sudden you're tripping over a giant fucking grizzly that's got no paws and just had his gallbladder removed. It's like those people that wake up with no liver all of a sudden and they're in a bathtub of ice. It's like that. Like,
but bears.
Yeah, but with bears.
Oh, fucking Lord. Dude, I remember the night you first told that story. Even Joe's just reading, oh my God, that was a night on Clubhouse. We were in fits of laughter for how many hours? And you just kept making it worse by saying, oh yeah, he put my brother in there. He was splashing around him, and you just kept saying it. So good, man. Love you so much. Thank you for sharing the bear story. It is absolute gold. So, folks, this is what you're missing out on Clubhouse. We're a bunch of...
I had this other story I was going to tell on the show. Actually.
Please.
So there was so I was living in Toronto and I was working, and I had this roommate, my girlfriend's, this girl, she lived with me and my girlfriend, and it was Saturday morning and I'd been working. I was a welder for a while. So I'd been working. So I wake up early Saturday morning and I'm like, okay, get my coffee back. This is way before the internet and way before cell phones, and porn was still VHS tapes. So I go down, I rent a porno from the porno store. I come home, I have my coffee, I'm in my house coat. I get to the door of my living room, I drop my house coat, I'm naked. I pop my porno in, I light up a joint, I'm drinking my coffee, watching the porn, and then I'm giving her. And all of a sudden, this guy fucking comes around the corner and is standing in my living room, who I never seen before, don't know him, never fucking didn't know. And my roommate had brought him home from the bar the night before. So the guy's standing there while I'm laying on the couch, like in full, like mid-stroke, like I'm fucking sweating. And so the guy's standing there, he's staring at me, and I'm laying there like looking at him, and I go, hey man. He goes, hey man. I go, you might want to leave for maybe 5 minutes and come back. He goes, okay. And so he fucking goes back into Farah's bedroom. The girl that I was living with goes back into her room. I finished what I was doing. And then finally the guy comes out, and I'm like, well, it's nice to meet you. I'd shake your hand, but I don't think that's appropriate right now. Either way, it's good to know you now that you've seen all of me. Maybe we'll be good friends. Never saw the guy again. Never again. Never saw him again. And he looked like Nick Simmons. He looked exactly like Nick Simmons. He was this big, tall guy with like, I was like, who the fuck are you? And why are you in my house on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. during my fucking porno time? This is my time to, de-stress here. Asshole, you ruined it.
Oh man, do you reckon he wakes up in a cold sweat going,
yeah.
I saw that guy wanking, I saw that guy wanking.
Yeah. Like he must tell his friends there's this crazy guy. I woke up and there's this fucking lunatic laying on his couch all fucking crazy. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Oh, Brad, I love you. Boom. Thank you very much, Hippie, again. I saw another super chat fly by. That's so kind of you, Hippie. Thank you.
Thanks, Hippie. You're the best.
Thanks for sharing that story, Brad. And hi, Brad's mum as well.
Yeah, she's heard it. She's probably caught me too, so it's fine.
I love it.
Sure, everyone has.
Everyone's caught Brad masturbating. Come on, we all have. Yeah. Hands up in the chat if you have as well.
Oh yeah. It happens to the best of us.
Cheers, mate. So let's change it up a little bit. What are some of the apps on iOS that you love to use to make music?
Well, the first one I want to talk about isn't an iOS app, but it's an app I use on my computer. It's called Verse Perfect, and it's similar to an app on iOS called Songwriter's Pad. So it's just an app to write in, but it's got a dictionary, a thesaurus, a rhyming dictionary. It's got lots of adjectives, synonyms, everything you'd want out of a writing app. Is in this program, and I love it. So on iOS I use Songwriter's Pad, and on my desktop I use Verse Perfect.
Is that it there? I think that's it.
Yeah, it might be. I might have to re-download it because mine's in such bad shape, and it's such an old app that mine's like, sometimes it doesn't save my work, and I've written like 3,000 words and I just lose it. So it's buggy and terrible, but I love it because it's got all these features that Songwriter's Pad doesn't have, and they're all on the screen at the same time. With Songwriter's Pad, if you want the dictionary, you got to kind of go off onto another screen to get at it, and it's a little more clunky than than Verse Perfect is. But I love both of them, Songwriter's Pad and Verse Perfect. I love writing. I write most of my day. I spend writing words, and I use those two tools the most. GarageBand I use for everything. I'm not advanced enough to move to Logic or Cubasis or Aurea Pro. I'm a GarageBand guy to my core. So I'm gonna use GarageBand for another 10 years minimum and get better at it. And until I can master it, then maybe I'll move on to Aurea Pro or something bigger and more detailed. But I love GarageBand. I love all the new like InterApp Audio and AUV3 plugins. I love Mixbox. I love Mammoth that you just sent me. I love all the different things like the plugins that I can combine with it. It's really helped my process of writing and recording immensely. It's made my stuff sound so much better than it did even a year ago. So I see like little movements every time I record a song. There's just something a little bit better than the last time, and a little bit just like that shirt I made for Pete. Practice makes progress, and I see that little bit of progress every time I do something. So I'm grateful to those apps, and I'm grateful to you and Pete and Doug for showing me how to use these apps in conjunction with iPad so that I can color up the stuff I'm doing and learn how to use these programs in a quick hour-long video with a group of people that I love and love to interact with, and you that is an entertaining host makes it beautiful for me. So I enjoy that process. I like Lurson's. I like Pro Q3.
Right,
I'm terrible at Pro Q3, but I love it.
Let me catch up. Pro Q3. See if we can find it doing a search
that's
this
the
way.
best EQ app I found, I think.
I'll just do a search by Fab Filter. That's the best way to find it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Pro Q3. There you go.
Yeah, and it's so good, but I'm terrible at it. I'm going to learn how to use it. But I love it because you can touch it and just see where everything peaks. And then I can, like those little yellow dots there, I can just bring those down and make those peaks go away. And then Ivan was telling me that there's a button I can push to say make dynamic. And so I'm learning a little bit as we go. That's one thing I don't know how to do, that low pass filter. I'm still not there yet. But I'll get there and I'll learn how to do that.
The jokes are coming thick and fast in the chat, Brad. So FAP filter, how to FAP on iOS, from FAP to app. We've got them all coming in. What was the other one? It was Lurson's, wasn't it? Yeah,
Lurson's is awesome.
Lurson's
because that's a simple. I just use the whatever they're called. What are they called? The presets.
Yep.
And I go and I just go through them until I go, okay, that sounds good. Publish. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah,
and then
easy.
BandLab is the next thing that I love.
Of course.
And even though it's not a popular site and people are, they get frustrated when I send them BandLab links, they're just not used to it yet. It's just a newer version of SoundCloud that's a little bit better than SoundCloud because it has more to offer. Like it's got a built-in DAW and loops and like you can create everything right from BandLab. I just don't like their DAW. I'm not used to it. I don't like it, but I just record everything in GarageBand and then import it into BandLab. And I like it for the fact that it's a music creation social media site. And so you get people like strangers that I don't know, because, when your friends hear your songs, they say, oh, it's great, right on, whatever, move on.
Yeah.
But when strangers comment on it, people that you don't know and don't know your history and don't know that you've done this and this and this and this, they just hear the song, that's all they know about you. And they go, hey, this is a nice song. Good job. And that makes me feel good to have strangers, interact with me over music.
And you can collaborate on this too, can't you? With
yeah,
people?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the selling point of the app itself. You hit a button called fork, and it forks it out so that you can add, guitars or vocals or piano or bass or whatever, and it shows like a little, like your song is here, then it'll show a line that moves over and up to the side. It'll show the first fork. Then if somebody else does something off that fork, it'll kind of show off that, and then if they do it off yours, then there's another branch that comes up. And so it's this whole tree of creation based on what you first posted.
You.
So it's really amazing that way. Like it works really well for that.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't you drop a song on there just recently?
Yeah, last night.
Where was it? Did you drop it in GarageBand Users Group or Create Record Release?
Yeah, create, record, release. But it's on my BandLab page too. If you go to bandlab.com, BrADeXaMpLe, it's the first song that comes up on my page.
I'm just seeing if I can find it. Let me see. Create, record, release. And where is it? There it is. Open up BandLab. Oh, it's asking me to sign in.
Yeah, you don't have to. Just click the X and you should be able to go on to it.
Is it going to do it? Let's try it again. Let's try clicking on it again, see if it works. Oh, don't ask me to sign in. Hang on a minute. Let me just go back to you for a second. Back to us for a second. Because I do have a login. Let's see if it...
Yeah, so I posted it last night, and then it's already got like 60 plays and a couple comments, and you know, like people interact with you when you post music on there, so I like it. It's definitely not people's favorite because of that login issue. So when they're coming in off Facebook or whatever and they're asked to log in, I think that kind of throws them off. But I think most of the time, if you have an account, they'll ask you to log in. If you don't have an account, I think you can just go right to the song.
Well, let's have a listen to it. It goes for 3 minutes. Let's whack it on.
I have an idea. Mix and master it.
So this is
looking down at myself, and I walked, should've talked, should've asked some fucking help. Take it easy, baby. Don't you mess up a good thing and take the long road, baby. Trying to shake the shape I'm in. 'Cause today I find I ain't hard enough. Too much is too much, and I gotta give some up. I'll take the shame with the pain. I've always needed more, and I've convinced myself. One step ahead, you leave a little piece behind. The shit she said convinced me I was gonna lose my mind. Gotta make room for tomorrow today, baby. Gotta take your chances. The fact is, you and I were gonna run forever. 'Cause today I find I ain't hard enough. Too much is too much, and I gotta give some up. I'll take the shame with the pain. I've always needed more, and I've convinced myself.
There you go. That's a premiere, I guess. So
Yeah, brand new.
Awesome job.
I had an idea, mixed and mastered it for me, and then my guitar player from the Surfers and 206 and all the bands I've ever been in, my guitar player Dave played guitar on it for me and did an incredible job. Those leads are mind-blowing. But every song I write, I have him in my mind. Like, whenever I write a song, I leave all these spaces because I want him on my songs. But he's a busy guy, and sometimes he doesn't like the more mellow stuff that I do, and gets wants me to write heavier songs, because I do write heavy songs too sometimes. But the stuff that I think people respond to the most that I write is my mellower stuff.
Well, I love all your stuff. So there you go. Hey, thank you again for sharing that. So before I ask you the last question, excuse me, what's next? What's going to happen with your? So you've got this, you've got revisions of stuff coming out from previous bands, and
yeah.
What's going to happen with what's happening with? What do you see for the future for your solo stuff?
Well, I want to make an app of some sort that has all my writing and music and everything all in one place. So I want to do something like that, where I can make like an online zine and put my lyrics, my words before the lyrics, pictures, music, videos, have it all in one spot. So eventually I'll get there. But I mean, as the days go by, I'm just focused on writing and recording another song. So that's why I like to do things quickly. I like to get it out of the way and move on to the next one, because I always think, okay, my next song is going to be the good one.
Awesome. Well, look, I just want to say, before I ask the last question, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for reaching out to me when you did and send me that awesome email. And it's an absolute pleasure to have gotten to know you over the last year and hang out with you every day and listen to your music and listen to your outrageous stories that keep me in fits of laughter. You're such a wonderful human being. I'm so thankful that you've come on the show and pretty much, embed your soul and be so honest and upfront. It's an absolute privilege.
Well, I'm honored, and I love you, Jade, and I love your show, and you've helped me so much and in so many different ways that I can't even begin to thank you for what you've done for me. Not only by just being there before I even spoke to you, I knew I could tune in every day and get that comfort of, okay, now I'm learning how to use an app, and I'm learning how this whole iOS system works. And it provided me comfort even before I knew you or reached out and we became friends. But now being friends with you has enriched my life more than I could ever repay you.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to do this show and support artists and see people grow. That's what it's all about. It's not about
and you provide the perfect platform for all of us creators to congregate in one place and all learn from each other and talk to each other and create and like each other's music. And it's just like what the hippie does, creates a community where people that aren't going to get played on terrestrial radio or even satellite radio are getting a spot where they can play their music in front of 40 or 50 people. That's all you can ask for.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you again, Pete Johns, who's just sent a super chat saying, I think I missed the bear.
Thank you, Pete. I love you.
Pete missed the bear story, unfortunately.
You can watch it on the replay, Pete. I love you.
Thank you, Audible Video, as well. Doug says as well, it's such an honor to be able to call you a friend, Brad. There's a lot of love here.
I love
a lot of love from people. Thomas Christ says Brad is an awesome and inspiring dude. Lady Rode a Line Straight, who I forgot to mention was here.
I love you,
Thank you for
lady.
being here. She says, brilliant show, Jade and Brad. Thank you so much for the laughs. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. And thank you all for being here and supporting the show as per usual.
Thanks for coming, everybody. I appreciate the little audience to make an ass out of myself in front of it. Makes me feel loved. Thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting Jade's show and keeping this community alive and vibrant with such amazing people.
Boom. Doug's waiting for the last question because everybody loves the last question, which gets so much flack, but we're going to do it. Brad, if somebody was considering becoming creative, when would you suggest the best time for them to start?
Right fucking now. Do it.
You hear that, Doug?
drop everything. Grab a pen and a piece of paper, write down how you're feeling, get on GarageBand, put together 3 chords. I think Lou Reed said you can make a song out of 1 chord. 2 chords, you got rock and roll. 3 chords, you're jazz now. So you take 1 chord and make a song. Sing your truth, sing what you're feeling. Doesn't matter if you're or not or whatever. Do it now. If it's in your soul and it's just dying to fucking explode out of you, do it now. Don't be afraid. Just do it right now.
Absolutely. Spot on. See how hard was that, Doug? Really? I'm gonna have to do. Have to do Dancing Doug now just to make him pay. Do you want to? Let's dance together with Doug. I don't think we can do it. I don't think I have it set up to do it. Do I? No, I don't. Damn, I don't have your camera set up to do it. Oh, maybe I do. Oh, there you are. Yes. Let's bring me in. Let's all do the Doug dance together. This is what we've been living for, folks. Boom.
Boom.
All right. Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you, Jade. I love you very, very much.
Love you too, my friend. You are absolutely awesome. So, guys, hit up the description. Go and check out all of Brad's music. Sub him up, folks. Go over, sub him up. Boom. And because his music's amazing, and there's an absolute plethora of stuff to listen to. We're going to go out today with a track, one of his solo tracks called the Queen's Secrets. Tell us a little bit about this song before we crank it up.
That was a song that I had that burst out of me in one day. I was feeling a way, and I picked up my guitar, and the chords came, the melody came, and the lyrics all came all at once, and I recorded it and put it out all in one day. Killer
stuff. All right, well, we're going to mute our mics. We're going to say goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm looking at I'm looking at an app tomorrow. I can't even remember which app it is. Let me check. What app am I looking at tomorrow? I'm looking at
How to Fap on iOS.
How to Fap on iOS. That's what I'm looking at. How to Fap on iOS. We'll change the. We should have changed the name of the show to that today. Definitely. OBXD. That's what I'm looking at tomorrow. So yeah, we're gonna head over to Clubhouse after this. Hey Stu Cash, sorry I missed you as well. I think I saw you come in late. Hey Sion as well. Look, thank you all for being here. You're all awesome people. Thanks for.
Thank you. You guys mean the world to me. This community means the world to me. Pete, I know you're not on here, but when you watch on the replay, I love you.
He's back.
Doug, I love you. Ivan, I love you. Joe, I love you. Lady Rodeline, I love you. Hubs, I love you. Everybody that comes in and hangs out on Clubhouse and hangs out in the chat, I love all of you. Russ, of course, I feel so much love for all of you just for being there.
I love you. I honestly love you. Alrighty, this is the Queen's Secrets. We're going to mute our mics. We're going to say goodbye. We're going to do the wave, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much, guys. Take it easy, and bye for now. See you later.